Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President, leader of the National Democratic Congress, and presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress. Nime, comrades and friends, I've come here this morning simply as a Ghanaian, because I believe that what we are commemorating and what we are discussing is about Ghana and has consequences for every Ghanaian, irrespective of our political orientation or affiliation. What happened on the 31st of January 2019 can destabilize this country. And if this country is destabilized, whether you are a member of the MPP, the CPP, or some of the parties in coma, it will affect you. One of the things that has brought me here today is the need to sound a warning, and a very, very strong warning. And that warning is that this country is slowly but surely sliding down the path of violence and chaos. And reasonable people who love this country, people who believe in democracy and constitutionalism, have a duty to stand up and struggle in order to maintain decency, order, and development for our people. I've been a little under the weather. I was hesitating about whether to come here today or not, only to be rudely awakened to the fact that what happens on 31st January 1919 is continuing to happen, and that we need to stand up and fight. Yesterday, I saw a post on WhatsApp, which was a directive from the hierarchy of the Ghana Police Service, instructing all police personnel not to provide security for this event. This is the first time in my life, and perhaps the first time in recorded history, that a police institution is calling on policemen not to provide security. Now, if the police is not providing security, what is the police there for? Indeed, what happened yesterday is a continuation of what happened on the 31st of January 2019. It's a continuation. By announcing that the police was not going to provide security for this event, what was the police service seeking to do? Was the police service not sending a signal to hoodlums that they can come here and do as it please and that the police would not act? Was that not what the police was doing yesterday? In any case, whether we like it or not, President John Dramani Mahama is a president of this country, has been a president of this country before. And he's entitled to the security which is offered former President Kufuor, is entitled to the same security which is offered former President Jerry John Rawlings and every other person. The police must provide reasons why former President John Dramani Mahama cannot be provided with security when he attends public events like this one. I am totally shocked and disgusted by the conduct of our police service. And indeed, I'd like to use this opportunity to send a very clear and loud warning to our security services. Our security services should not forget that the people of this country defeat British colonialism at the time when Britain was said to rule the waves. We defeated British colonialism. The people in the security services should not forget what happened in Haiti when under Papa Doc and Baby Doc they established Tonton Marcus to terrorize the people. They still drove them out of power. The security services should not forget the fact that the United States of America with all its might was driven out of Vietnam with its tails behind its knees. So no security force can stand against the will and determination of the people, and that ultimately the people of this country will take their destiny into their own hands. There are so many of us who have said that we are praying to avoid violence in the election in 2020. It's all well and good to pray, but we have to understand one thing. The 1992 Constitution enjoins all Ghanaians to do every and anything possible to protect the Constitution and to protect national sovereignty. So those who believe in prayers, let them pray. Those who belong to the Akunedi Shrine, let them do what the Akunedi Shrine wants them to do. Those who belong to Nakaba, let them do what Nakaba will do. And those who feel strong enough to confront the strength of the useless and wicked, let them gather their strength and face them. That is a duty that the 1992 Constitution imposes on us. The 1992 Constitution is absolutely clear about what we ought to do when national sovereignty is threatened. In any case, I am not as deeply worried as others have said, because I'm convinced that the people of this country have the capacity to resist what is not in their interest, and they will resist what is not in their interest, and they will be victorious. So I'm not worried. But you see, if you watch the events of January 31st, 2019, you cannot ignore the fact that there were stray bullets. Stray bullets do not have the capacity to distinguish between who is loyal to MPP and who is loyal to NDC. Stray bullets, they can hit anybody and everybody. So those who are promoting this carelessness should be reminded about the existence of stray bullets and what stray bullets can do. Comrades and friends, there are some who say that this event is not worthy of celebration. It's not even worthy of mention, because there have been other incidents, and they mention Tiwa and other places and so on. I am saying here and now that what happened in Ayawasu West Wogon has never happened in our history, because the hoodlums came in state vehicles. They came disguised as national security personnel, and they were supported by ministers who justified their actions. It's never happened in our history before, and this is extraordinary. My worry is that up to today, these hoodlums are still embedded in the national security apparatus. The people who are responsible for your injuries, the people who tried to kill the 27 of you here assembled, are still being paid by your taxes. That is the worry. Those people are still wearing uniforms procured by the Ghanaian taxpayer. Those people are still acting in our name. And I'd like to emphasize here and now that if the government is serious about preserving the sanity and peace of this country, the first step is to dismantle immediately those outfits of hoodlums in the security service. Let's sanitize the security services, and let's throw out the vigilantes from the security services. There's a duty we have to ourselves and to the nation. We need to do that as quickly as possible. I want again to emphasize that the enactment of laws does not automatically resolve problems. The law of vigilantism is absolutely useless and meaningless to the extent that it has not ended vigilantism and it has not brought to book those responsible for those acts last year. Only a couple of days ago, the member of parliament for Ododo was going to the inauguration of a hospital. He was accosted by vigilante groups. They heckled him. And if good counsel had not prevailed, God knows what would have happened to Nilanti van der Poel. That's a manifestation of vigilantism. It is still happening in spite of the law, and we ought to take measures to dismantle all the vestiges of vigilantism and ensure that at the end of the day, the people of Ghana will choose their own leaders. And if at the end of the day, we go through peaceful, credible elections and so on, and the people of Ghana decide that Captain Akamba should become president of Ghana, we will all bow to Captain Akamba and help him rule this country. If at the end of the day, the people of Ghana decide that in spite of everything that is happening today, in spite of everything that is happening today, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo should repeat 4 more years. But if that is the will of the people expressed in true, genuine, transparent elections, we have no option than to accept it. But if at the end of the day, somebody is declared president, and we all know that he came through Kukululu and Wagadre and all of that, then we will exercise our right to resist oppressor's rule until the people's will is established. And there can be no compromise on this one. No compromise on this one. And indeed, all of us, and I mean all of us, irrespective of our political party affiliation and so on, ought to join this campaign to ensure that the true will of the people is expressed and accepted, and that we work with the true will of our people. One of the major things threatening our democracy today and casting a shadow of doubt about the outcome of the 2020 elections is the attempt to fabricate a new voters register. And some of the arguments that have been made simply defy common sense. People make arguments, you look them in the face, and you begin to wonder where common sense has fled to. We are told that the Ghanaian voters register has dead people on it and therefore it is not useful. Show me one country in the world, from Afghanistan through India, through Pakistan to the United States of America, where you don't have dead people on the register. It's impossible to have a register without dead people. If you finish compiling the register at 12 noon today, by 1 o'clock somebody will die. There will always be dead people on the register. So that's a bad argument. It's an argument which should not be made. We are being told again that we need to compile a new voters register because the machines are faulty. If the machines are faulty, why wipe the whole data? Why don't you simply change the machines? And then they say that, oh, some people, because of the work they do, their fingerprints have been deformed. So we should add facial recognition. As if only fingers can get deformed. What about faces would get deformed? This whole argument is so nonsensical, it doesn't make sense. And unfortunately for us, we have an electoral commission and commissioners who have no shame wearing their biases as badges of honor. You have a vice chairman of the commission who can say in public that he hates one particular party, that one particular party is a danger to democracy. Where does this happen? How can this happen anywhere? So the resistance against the voters register ought to continue as one of the measures which would ensure that the outcome of the elections would be credible. But I must sound two notes of caution. What is happening in our country demands total mobilization, complete and total mobilization of everybody and anybody. This hanky-panky way of organizing resistance, of mobilizing and demobilizing, mobilizing and demobilizing, is not in anybody's interest. So those who want to mobilize, let it be mobilization all the way, no demobilization anymore. Now this mobilization and demobilization sends wrong signals. So that is the first caution that I like to deliver. Now the second caution that I like to deliver is that all of these processes which have begun, demonstrations, press conferences and so on, somebody must begin to determine the end game. What is the end game? What are the different options open to us? If this does not happen, what should happen? If that happens, what should happen? There has to be a plan. You don't start something until you have a plan for the end. And I don't see that plan for the end. That is the weakness of the mobilization that is taking place. So, let us begin to mobilize, let us begin to organize. But above all, let us begin to think. And let our actions spring out of thinking. I am confident. I am absolutely confident that on December 7th, 2020, the true will of the people of Ghana will be expressed. And no force on earth can change that true will of the people of this country. And I am this confident because we are all learning our lessons. All of us are learning our lessons. And one big lesson that all of us have learned is that whatever decisions we make today, whatever actions we take today will have consequences for all of us. I recall 2016. I recall 2015, 2016. And I heard some members of the NDC. If you don't like what I'm saying, I apologize, but I can't help it. And they were so full of hatred for the flag bearer of the party. So they subverted the flag bearer of the party. Today, January 2020, the flag bearer is sitting here. He came here with a motorcade provided by the state. The Constitution guarantees his salary until he will die. He will never suffer if he pulls out of politics. Those people, those big men who finance the opposition, hello, comrades. Those big men, those party giants and so on, what is happening to their businesses today? Are they not the people who are today playing hide and seek with the police? So if you don't learn from this experience, it's up to you. And I've heard some people, you've all heard them, and they come to you and say, look, I am the most qualified person to become the vice presidential candidate of the party. If they don't give it to me, they will win. Nonsense. Who are you? Comrades and friends, whether we operate in the CPP, whether we operate in the PNC, whether we operate in the MPP and so on, what makes politics noble is that it's about the people of our country and their plight and how to change the conditions of the underprivileged. It is not about anybody with a stupid and useless ambition to become anything. It's about our people's access to water. It's about providing better education for our people. It's about building infrastructure, improving national infrastructure. It's about potable water for our people and so on. That is what politics should be about. All these useless, ambitious people who are striding the path and making things difficult, they should get out of our way and let the people move forward. Thank you.